Hi there everyone, welcome to our first video on YouTube, and we start with the chapter 4, which explains secondary research and big data. This chapter provides an overview of secondary data within the context of big data. We'll look at the advantages and disadvantages of using secondary data, understand the types of objectives that can be achieved using secondary data, like fact-finding, model building, and database marketing, and discuss and give examples of various internal and external sources and describe the impact of single source data. Let's start. Secondary data are gathered and recorded by someone else before and for other purposes than the current needs of the researcher. Secondary data are usually historical, have already been collected by someone else, and do not require access to respondents or subjects. Getting secondary data is almost always faster and less expensive than collecting primary data. In some situations, it's just impossible to collect data using primary research design. For example, you want to explore Almaty citizens' demographics. Can you define it yourself by collecting primary data? Will you have enough resources like your time, budget, labor force to do this kind of work? Well, I don't think so. Instead, you have a very useful source for that as the StatGov.kz, where it has all been already collected by government bodies. Advantages of secondary data here are that data are historical and relatively cheap to obtain, data are already assembled, and data does not require access to subjects, to participants to include in your research design. Secondary data may not always be available on the other hand, or it may be available only for particular people, not for every researcher who wants to access the source because of some privacy rules. Even if it's available, it may not be adequate to meet the needs of the researcher. The most common reasons that the information may not be adequate as follows. First of all, secondary data can be outdated. Secondary data must be up to date to precisely predict the future and do accurate forecasting. And there can be some variations in the definitions of terms, or there can be differences in the meanings, understandings of concepts and terms used by different researchers. Also, units of measurement can be different. Units of measurement can be problematic if they are not similar to the researcher's needs. In this case, data conversion may be necessary. Data conversion is a process of changing the original form of data to a format suitable to achieve the research objective. And the last reason is that the reputation of the organization collecting the data should be considered really well by the researcher, and the research design should be critically evaluated as well to basically decide for researcher himself if the data collected is trustworthy, reliable, and valid. To use secondary data in the marketing research project, we should have one of the main three objectives in mind. It is either fact-finding, model building, and database marketing. Fact-finding is the simplest form of secondary data research. It refers to the gathering of information, which is often the part of preliminary research. For example, a fact-finding tour has the purpose to find out certain facts. You may want to check the facts about, for example, Kazakhstan before deciding to enter the Kazakhstani market, what basically foreign investors and business owners do. A common secondary data study designed to find facts might be a market tracking study. Market tracking refers to the observation and analysis of trends, which is also called trend spotting, in industry volume and brand share over time. A trend itself can be defined as an assumed future development or as future direction of the market. But how can we detect it really early? In the context of marketing today, usually the first signs of a shift show themselves through social media or engagement metrics. This crucial rise or fall in traffic, engagement, or variation in demographics is what reveals the business competitive advantage. You should remember that the earlier you recognize these trends, the sooner you can react, prepare for potential threats, and take advantage of upcoming some opportunities. There are like various kinds of market trend analysis that each of them can offer unique and important insights. Let's start with megatrends. Megatrends, for example, develop over a long period of time and affect the majority of industries. They are often caused by major shifts in society and the global economy. For example, the collapse of major banks and the financial crisis of 2008 had a strong impact on consumer demand and spending habits. This trend spread over the globe and even impacted the future movements across industries. Analyzing these trends provides an overview of the global market and developments with long-lasting consequences. And it's crucial to keep this in mind for your overall marketing strategy. Historical trends analysis investigates how industry trends developed in chosen sector in the past. Let's say you want to sell the bicycles. Here you do the historical trends analysis to basically know how the trends have developed during the particular period of time. The time frame can range anywhere from historical data. It can be the past 24 hours, the previous week, even 3 months to several years ago. This helps you to understand market activity, where your market is heading through historical analysis. Consumer trend analysis examines the factors that drive product consumption. The focus is on understanding consumer needs and behavior. You can learn how the launch of a specific new product affects the market and if the trend itself is growing or vice versa declining. Seasonal and temporal trend analysis looks at the market shifts related to external factors such as climates, any kind of like holidays which are usually changing. During the November and December, for example, just before the New Year Eve, consumers tend to increase their gift buying for the season. As a result, the retail and FMCG sectors see a significant boost in their demand. These months are the most important time in the year for increasing revenues. Understanding seasonal trends let decision makers adapt their marketing strategies and offer special deals at various times of the year. For example, fashion retailers and websites typically conduct time-limited sales at the end of every season in order to get rid of current inventory and prepare for the upcoming season. Geographic market trend analysis researches variations in trends based on location. The idea is to compare the market in different geographic areas and understand how they develop in each. For example, TikTok, a platform popular among younger generations worldwide, quickly overtook the market in Asia in late 2018. However, it was initially much slower to spread in Western countries. Desktop versus mobile market trend analysis aims at catching some variations in customer behavior on different devices. This can be helpful in specific cases. For example, when you see a drop in traffic, you might want to check if all devices are affected equally. Another objective of using secondary data is to build a model. Model building involves specifying relationships between two or more variables. Model building can involve the development of descriptive or predictive equations. However, model building does not necessarily need to be a complicated mathematical process. In fact, many marketing managers and decision makers using simple models that everyone can readily understand often find these models more effective rather than more complex models that are difficult to understand and apply into the practice. Let's say we want to define the market share. We can take the company sales from one, let's say, internal source and the industry sales from another source. Use this equation to define for ourselves the market share for a particular product or the brand. Secondary and survey data, which can be always and combine it well to determine important market parameters such as market potential, size of existing market, extent of consumer savings from switching providers, and the extent of bill shock or overspend in the market. For example, survey data collected by the researchers combined with secondary data to estimate amount of bill shock in the mobile phone industry. Here, if you wonder, bill shock occurs when you receive a bill that is higher than you are expecting, and it can lead to negative reaction in the consumer, and this can be caused by the many of factors. Another objective to use the secondary data is the data mining. In recent years, with the development of data science and IT, the capabilities for market research have increased significantly. Big data now makes it possible to extract predictive information about consumers from the large databases. And this relatively new market research approach is called data mining, and it plays an important role in market research. Uh, Data mining is different from traditional market research in a couple of different ways. It uses machine learning and algorithms to know insights from databases or other large stores of information. While traditional research provides new insights, data mining gets insights from data that by nature already exists. For example, credit card company could use data mining to generate a list of products a customer is more likely to purchase based on their credit card purchase history. Or let's say e-commerce company could analyze all past purchases of their consumer, and then they could use these analytics to target the ads and make more relevant product recommendations based on the data. Data mining can also provide the real-time recommendations. For example, if a customer adds a specific item to their cart, an algorithm could make additional product recommendations based on what other customers purchased in addition to that product. Data mining for market research is a perfect way to get a more comprehensive view of the customers. With data, you can learn more about your consumers. With this research, you can provide more personalized consumer experiences, develop your marketing strategies, and pitch products to the consumers which are more likely to respond to these products. For example, email marketers use data mining to provide more personalized content to their subscribers. With the help of CRM or another big data collection tool, they can learn things like gender, location, weather patterns, and more. Then email marketers can use this information to segment lists and provide more relevant content. Adidas does this by collecting gender information on customers. Then they segment the email lists and data sets to send the new men's collection to males and the new women's collection for females. So overall, data mining is the use of computers to dig through volumes of data to discover some patterns about organizations, customers, and products. It's a broad term that applies to many different forms of analysis, and one form of this analysis is called the market basket analysis. It is the data mining technique used by retailers to increase sales by better understanding customer purchasing patterns. The adoption of market basket analysis was aided by the advent of electronic point-of-sale systems. Compared to handwritten records kept by store owners, the digital records generated by POS systems made it easier for applications to process and analyze large volumes of purchase data. And implementation of market basket analysis actually requires the background in statistics, data science, as well as some algorithmic computer programming skills. One example is the shopping basket analysis tool in Microsoft Excel, which analyzes transaction data contained in a spreadsheet and performs market basket analysis. The Amazon website employs a well-known example of market basket analysis. On the product page, Amazon presents users with related products under the headings of frequently bought together and customers who bought this item also bought that item, let's say. Another form of data mining is the social media listening. Social media listening is mainly useful for marketers, but also for the business development. It involves monitoring consumer behavior on social media. Social media listening platforms such as brand mentions or hundreds of others available on the internet have become more and increasingly popular as a means to stay on top of conversations and discussions on social media. Of course, these platforms ask a price for their job, ranging from affordable prices to rather expensive ones. The third objective to use secondary data is to create the database marketing with the help of CRM. Database marketing is defined as a personalized marketing campaign that accomplishes its personalization goals by using databases of existing and potential customers. CRM here collects data on the potential clients to develop the personalized communication that addresses the customer wants and needs. The database contains all types of data like demographic data and even purchase history. It allows the marketer to learn more about its potential clients. And based on such information, it's easy to develop the best ways to approach diverse kinds of customers. The way Facebook segments its user data is one of the key database marketing examples. For ensuring personalized experiences, Facebook segments user data based upon their profile, such as location, first name, last name, phone number, email, date of birth, gender, and interests. And this personalized database of Facebook is quite useful for advertisers and marketers who use Facebook to run their ads. As per a rough estimate, Facebook currently incorporates data of more than 2 billion people. The use of database marketing can also be seen in LinkedIn, that comprises a customer database of around 660 million business professionals. LinkedIn utilizes its database with a variety of monetization strategies like LinkedIn Premium, Talent Solutions, Sales Navigator, and LinkedIn Ads that took its database marketing to the next level. Marketers use LinkedIn customer base for running their B2B ads and marketing campaigns. The sources of secondary data can be either internal or external. Most organizations routinely gather and record and store internal data to solve future problems. The sources and examples of internal sources of data could be the sales invoices, customer complaints, service records, warranty card returns, and etc. These internal sources of secondary data can be based on aggregated data where all information can be found in one place or in one protocol or document, or it can be disaggregated, meaning that the researcher himself must request the needed piece of information from the different parts within the organization. Another source of secondary data is called external. External data are created and recorded or generated by newspapers and journals, trade associations, and other organizations which produce some information. This information can be in published form, perhaps available at the public library, from a trade association, or from the government agency, but today computerized data archives and electronic data interchange make external data as easily accessible as the internal data. The secondary data have value and can be bought and sold in the same way as the other markets, other products. Secondary data can be distributed in various distribution channels like libraries. Libraries are the traditional intermediate distributor of secondary data. They have collections of books, periodicals, guides, directories, and indexes. Libraries also have extensive online databases today, which are accessible to the general public. The Internet has added an international dimension to the access of secondary data. Quality of information can be like another question here because anyone can set up their website and fill it with their whatever content he wants to. So you should consider the authority, accuracy, and coverage of anything posted on the web or in social media. Many external sources of secondary data are directly available from the organizations that produce the data or from intermediaries, often called vendors. In recent years, the growth of online vendors has allowed managers to access external databases via desktop computers and telecommunication systems. And the next distribution system is called the producers of books and periodicals. Books, professional journals, and commercial business periodicals can be especially valuable source of data. Government sources also give the big amount of data. For example, the state governmental data, such as the census of population, can be counted on for accuracy and quality of investigation. Information on a broad range of subjects is available from broadcast and print media, can be used as the media sources. Trade associations serve the information needs of a particular industry. Industry data on market size and market trends is likely to be available from most trade associations. For example, Atomic Yen can be the trade association's example of on the local landscape, which investigates and supports the small and medium enterprises, and it does market research projects to develop the conditions for them. Commercial sources also another type of distribution system, and numerous organizations specialize today in selling the information, and these organizations provide diverse types of data, and examples include like the market share and consumption and purchase behavior data. Data companies like Nielsen provide information about sales volume and brand share over time. They also can help with demographic and census updates. Many organizations supply demographic data, especially census updates, in easy to use or custom formats. Also, they do advertising research, like readership and audience data are provided by a number of organizations. And lastly, here is important thing to know as the single source of data. Market tracking provides a big amount of accurate and rapid product and brand sales information, collectively known as a scanner data. And the scanner data is also called the single source data because sales, price, advertising, and retail display data for a given time period is merged together and may be obtained from a single source. Recent developments in computerized database retrieval systems and computer software allows to use this kind of scanner and other secondary data. So here today we've discussed the use of secondary data. Secondary data is the data previously recorded for other purposes, and it is the key distinction from primary data which is gathered for specific purpose of the researcher. It does not require the access to respondents or subjects because here you don't deal with people, you deal with their readily available information offered and collected by someone else. The secondary data itself is inexpensive and quick, but here might be concerns for accuracy and credibility, and it may not meet the researcher's specific needs because it has been collected for other research study and design. That is another concern. We've looked at the three broad objectives as fact-finding, model building, and database marketing, and can also looked at the many sources as internal versus external, traditional versus modern, government versus commercial sources of secondary data. That's all for today. Thank you for your attention. See you later. Goodbye, guys.